Hey, what's up? Ian or Devin? I'm not sure who's going to end up seeing this, but so I'm a motion graphics animator. I've been animating for a decade, and I have been experiencing what a lot of people in the world have been experiencing, where my industry is being pretty handily taken over by critical theorists and the critical theory based ideologies that are super predatory and totally anti-science. And I was recently just offered a job, and this is the very first job that I ever got that was like a hardcore critical theory ideology job. And guess what company it's from? Meta, aka Facebook. I got this from Facebook. Now I want you to look through this with me, because I've never gotten a job this propagandistic, and it freaked me out, and I needed to tell somebody. And I know I don't even know you, but I don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. So anyways, look at this. Just read this with me. This Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. So this is what they're celebrating. This is supposed to be what Facebook, aka Meta, is celebrating. Latin Hispanic Heritage Month, okay? So right off the bat, I was like, oh, thank God they didn't say Latinx, but it gets so much worse, don't worry. We'll celebrate the parts of our past that can build a better future. Gee, interesting. Dredging up the past. I wonder if they're going to mention colonialism. All right, anyways. So let's look at this first page right off the bat. Look at this. From Flora Paca, a queer educator. Remember, this is Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. And the first subject they bring up is queer theory, herbalist, and activism. Queer theory and activism, whose work and based in her Andini identity. They bring up identity, reproductive justice. Now it's about abortion in here. Remember, this is Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. Right off the bat, you get queer theory, activism, identity, ideology, abortion, and then there's just plant connections and herbalist, which is a little bit funny because those are so benign. And then anyways, twin sisters. Okay, now here, this is the second person that they're representing in this. Remember, Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. Two black women from Brooklyn, New York. So they've crammed in right away queer theory, activism, identity ideology, abortion, black women, Brooklyn. So they're looping in something that's related to that could be considered sort of tangential to George Floyd, like a sort of George Floyd adjacent group that has virtually nothing to do with Latin American culture. These twin sisters are Afro-Dominican. Okay, so that's how they stretch it. These are two black American women from Brooklyn, and they're trying to stretch that they belong in Latin Hispanic Heritage Month because they're one half Dominican, but they're raised American. So this is just complete bullshit. This isn't representing Latin American heritage at all. And they even say roots. It's not even like they're directly culturally connected to Latin America, who believe that the centuries-old ritual of bathing to heal can help us improve our physical and mental health today. That's actually totally benign, and I don't mind that sentence at all. It's one of the few sentences that aren't horrible. Anyways, to the Zapotec people of Oaxaca, who have always accepted a third gender. They don't even hide it. Gender propaganda, ideology. There is no fucking third gender, okay? I would argue that gender isn't even a thing. I think that when people say gender, I think they just mean their sexual personality. Maybe that's how I like to think of it. Anyways, here we go. Let's keep going. The Muxes, who are and they've got an X in it. Remember, look at that. Isn't that convenient? Who are all highly respected and are given visible and socially recognized roles in society. An entire 2 sentences is dedicated just to third gender propaganda. Okay, this is just 1 page. This whole thing is 21 pages, okay? Stories of a Latin past that can inspire the whole world to make the future more sustainable, diverse, inclusive, and progressive. Our campaign is built on interesting people's stories. No, it's not. Your campaign is built on an extremely narrow group of the population that represents virtually no one in everyday life. You've excluded 99% of people, and you've specifically only gone for a very tiny minority of extremely specific people. You did not pick interesting people. You picked propagandistic sort of representations of the ideology you're trying to push. That's bullshit right off the bat. This is a lie. Our 7 weeks of content, okay? This is it. Watch, look at this. Look at this. Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. And on the third page, are 7 weeks of content. This is how propagandistic and how overt they're being about just blatantly beating us over the head with it. They're just openly refusing to even keep it to a month. This is like, it's so authoritarian and dystopian. It's freaking me out. Okay, our content will be created from 5 stories of Latin creators. No, your content will be 5 stories of queer ideology stereotypes that you've cherry-picked that just by accident happen to also be like Latino. This is bullshit. Okay, looking for their past heritage in order to build a better future. They're not looking to their past heritage. You want to dredge up the past in order to destroy it and try and erase it and then create a mythology to replace it. That's why you're constantly trying to orient these kinds of conversations to looking to the past. Let's change the past. Let's look back at the past. Let's retroactively bigoteer. I know that's what I would do. And then look at these pictures. The first one is a man with makeup. The second one are 4 men with makeup. Now is a gender ambiguous, what looks like a man that looks kind of feminine. Now there is a man or a woman dressed in some kind of freak outfit. And then there's indigenous people, indigenous people, indigenous people, indigenous people, herbs. This looks like it's vaguely traditional. And then these are just those 2 black ladies from Brooklyn. There's literally not a single image in here that maybe this herb, maybe, and this lady, maybe. And then these old traditional images are to beat you over the head with colonialism. They're only going. I guarantee the only reason they show these pictures is because there's a section on how colonialism ravaged these people and how evil white men are. So just week 1, my past is the future. 2 pieces of content. Anise and well-being techniques. Muse will celebrate kickoff. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is just more information. Intro manifesto script. We start with tight shots of fingernails being painted, long hair being combed, a foot putting on a woman's shoes. The camera opens, revealing we're not seeing a man or a woman. Yes, we are. Gender isn't sex. I understand that there are intersex people who like blur the line, but that's just an anomaly that doesn't misrepresent the norm. The norm is still like 99.9%. You either have a penis or a vagina. You're not a person who is neither a man or a woman. This language is so stupid. Oh, but a third gender person, a mukes. Immediately, this whole thing, not one thing is about being Latin Hispanic or about Latin Hispanic heritage. Nothing. Pure gender ideology, pure queer ideology, pure like third gender propaganda, anti-science, completely unproven, totally ideological, completely faith-based. This is religion masquerading as progressivism. Week 2, the same general concept right off the bat. The LGBTQ plus community faces discrimination around the world immediately. This is the first thing that they say. But the Oxa, Mexico, blah, blah, people have always accepted a third gender propaganda. Again, Mukes will work with the Mukes creator, like blah, blah, blah. So they're highlighting Mukes, not Latin. This has nothing to do with Latin, Hispanic, or whatever the culture. Yeah, this is just them explaining what it's going to look like. It's not that interesting. And then, okay, so this one's even weirder. Mukes is a rapper from Tijuana whose name is inspired by the fact that they identify as a third gender. Blah, blah, blah. So this is just, there's going to be a little bit about this person now for Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. They're just describing something they're going to shoot. Week 4. A fucking gender ambiguous person with lipstick. I think it's a woman. So this is week 4. Again, so far, not one of these has been about anything that's Latin Hispanic heritage related. Traditional indigenous self-care has been disappearing. We'll create a reel that shares the story of Flora Pacha, a queer educator. Queer, again. herbalist, activist. Again, of course, they're always activists. Every single one of these people is also an activist. It's pure propaganda. You're not allowed to be anything but an activist. If you're not an activist, you're a bad person. This is what they're trying to project. Week 3, ancestral well-being practices. Okay, so now this is the one that was even weirder, because this isn't just queer theory. This is literally just, this is featuring 2 black American women from Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for 11 years. Trust me, I know who these people are. These people know nothing about being Latin or Hispanic. And I understand that one of their parents was, which is fair enough, but I'm just saying it's not the same thing at all. They should have gotten like a Latino person who just lived in Brooklyn. Like, why didn't they just get a Puerto Rican? It's not like they don't have any of them. Okay. And did you also notice how not a single one of these people was male? They were either gender non-specific or female. And then this one, okay, so this one blew me away. As if all of this wasn't bad enough. I was just like, I can't believe that this is real. I thought this whole time, like, I was looking at all these people's faces and I was like, oh, thank God, they have like a guy. There's like a man. I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't all propaganda. And then I realized this picture doesn't represent a person. This is just a generic placeholder image that's supposed to represent like a chef community. So this is actually not even representing like a non-propagandistic identity. And then I was like, oh, cool, like little candies. And then I read it. As the climate changes, sustainability is more critical than ever, and the world is going to have to reconsider how we approach food, but indigenous people in Brazil and other South American countries have had a solution for thousands of years. Bugs. They're pushing bugs. And climate change. Why is climate change in Latin Hispanic Heritage Month? Why is bug protein propaganda in Latin Hispanic Heritage Month? What does any of this have anything to do with being Latino or Hispanic or their heritage? We'll create reels where we follow along with Brazilian food sustainability experts as the chefs as they make different Brazilian recipes, traditional and modern, blah, 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 blah. We will look forward to partnering with you and show that by preserving and rescuing our Latin past culture, we can build a more progressive future. I hate these words, these propaganda terms. This is a nice ending. Anyways, so I just had to vent about that. Thank you so much for listening. And holy shit, man, this is fucking crazy. And here's the thing. I'm going to take this job. And it's a month and a half. I might not get it yet. I don't know. But I'm going to tell... I gave them my first hold. And I'm on the top of the list. So we'll see if I get it. If I get it, this is something that I learned. I was listening to a Benjamin Boyce podcast. Somebody said something that I thought was really clever. And they're like, listen, this critical theory, extremism, and far left, like sociopolitical religious extremism is really scary. You're going to want to push against it. But he's like, the only way we get through this is through. We can't stop it and we can't go around it. The only way to get through this is through. So I realized that I actually need to take this job because I hate this shit. And that means that if I can get in control of these things, I can help somehow maybe... It's like the ending of SLC Punk. Remember whenever the guy becomes a lawyer, even though he hates lawyers? And he's like, well, it's better to become part of the system so that you can get good at it and then from the inside start to dismantle it. And I think that that's what I need to do. So I'm going to accept this job. I'm going to charge them extra because fuck them. And if I can fuck this up in some way while I do it without getting caught, I'll try. And if not, then I'm just glad that I'm the one taking the money and not some critical theorist extremist who doesn't deserve it. Anyways, thanks a lot for listening, guys. And take care of yourself. Peace out.